virtual reality. It's a little recursive, but this wasn't about, the presentations weren't about virtual reality. They were, just mainstream tech presentations about different things, but they found it was like, it wasn't as good as face-to-face, but it was a lot better than not having it at all. Okay, and we saved a undisclosed confidential amount that I can't tell you on that one conference. Okay, and that's when suddenly they're like, ooh, and the conference space was booked out, and I think it's still booked out. I mean, there's something there like every week. It's the one thing that we have gotten so much value out of. Sweet spot poster sessions. Okay, something like this, one person standing up showing slides in front of a bunch of people. We can do that with existing technology. Okay, we are. Even if we weren't face to face, I've done this before. I give presentations to customers. We have a slideshow up, streaming, audio. We're all on the phone. We can do that. This is nice, but it's not. The other thing is comparable. Doing that in Second Life isn't really a step up from doing it with traditional screen sharing techniques. Poster sessions is where you have a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of groups, like 8 to 12 groups, all of which have something to talk about, and they have a poster. Okay, traditionally, you've got a big room like a display case, somebody stands in front of the poster, people wander around and ask them about that, and they speak to what they've done, usually using the poster as a reference, and people wander around like that. That works really well in a virtual world, okay? Because, it's not as good as in real life, you get like the same sort of engagement, but there is nothing in traditional medium that can quite do that sort of thing. The best you have is a series of presentations, and you sleep through some of them and you wake up for some of them because you're interested in bits, you're not interested in other bits. Or you can walk around, you can go to what you're interested in, you can stay there as long as you want, and bend their ear for as long as you're willing to tolerate that. And that just works well in a 3D immersive medium like Second Life. So that was like really the sweet spot. So this had like two main benefits, is that first of all, we could do a bunch of conferences that we thought we were going to have to cancel, much cheaper. Okay. The flip side of that is we could do new things that we would never have done before, because they're now really cheap. Okay. And it's been amazing that people have gone to it, have liked it. Okay, in the sense that they still get to do a conference even though they get no pay thing. They can just, oh wait, time for me to attend a conference. And boop, they're in there for an hour, 2 hours, whatever they need to be, and they're back to work. They've never left their desk. Okay, it's great. Unfortunately, Philip announced, I think last week, blowing my presentation out of the water, that they are no longer continuing Second Life Enterprise. Or rather, it appears to be, and I want to hear what he has to say about it in less time than I have. Because, again, it affects us a lot. They're talking about a hosted solution. That doesn't play well with IBM. There's too much we do that's confidential that we have to be behind our firewall. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's been the one big success story. All right, I'm going to have to start blasting through things because I know we're going to start early for everybody to get downstairs. Corner me later. I'm here until about 1, so grab me at lunch. And I have to become a daddy. Virtual Universe Community is a whole bunch of, it's like, it's like the Glee Club, or the volleyball club, but for virtual worlds. We do stuff. I'm running for Guildmaster, probably. I've been nominated. I haven't accepted the nomination yet because I want to tease things out, but right now, all you really need is a pulse. The last 2 elections didn't have, we had one person win. So the last bit then, how IBMers use virtual worlds. And like I'm going to say, we're just like you. We have the hair and the shoes. We do things. Some of us you recognize. Again. Some of us are notable residents. Most of us are just people. Probably nobody here except IBMers probably know who I am. I'm just a guy. Yeah, I try to say people that we're known, but we attend music, we build art, we go shopping. I mean, kind of just like everyone else. One difference that has been remarked on to me, I'm not trying to promote things here, is that, as I said at the beginning, I might be a little more formal than many of the other presentations because that's just what I'm used to. There's an internal directory in IBM you can register your avatar with, okay? But it also means everybody knows who you are, so there's accountability. Okay, if I bump into somebody else, and I know they're an IBM, I can look up exactly who they are, who their manager is, who they work for, It tends to make you a little more proper. Okay. And I've had that remarked to me in a positive way. It's like in the IBM sandbox. You have people say, I can come here dressed like this, and no one hits on me. I love this. You know, I ask a question and I get an answer as, you know, straightforward, you know, technical answer like, you know, I'm anything. And it doesn't matter whether I'm a blob or a smoke cloud or, you know, a hot young thing. I don't like that. But it's some of that I trace back to the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter who we are, we're accountable because, you know, somebody out there knows who you are. So, but, you know, there's this 8-bar group, which you may have seen, that's kind of like the sort of secret handshake amongst IBMers. Well, that's how it started off. You know, it was kind of officially, unofficially, sort of the IBM group that everybody was in. It's kind of changed because the people that were all pushing it were all, it's called 8-bar because this is our logo and it's 8 bars. That's our secret handshake. Now you know. But they were all out of Hursley, England, and when some of them moved out, it kind of, the sheep's clothing came off, and it really was just a group for Hursley, England. I asked to be on their blog because I was an active blogger and could not use the other software because it was breaking my brain hurt, and they're like, we want to keep this to Hursley people. And consequently, all the leaders from Hursley have left, and it's not really, it's kind of defunct, sadly. You know, the other problem was it was easy to get in, it was hard to get somebody out. When people left IBM, they're still in the group. So. But that was kind of cool. It'd be nice to have somebody new to take care of that. And like many have seen in Second Life, there's been kind of a diaspora. Somebody asked how many people have active, is it growing? It's like, well, it's certainly not growing exponentially the way it used to be. Where have they gone? You know, it's hard to say. Just look at your general populace and ask them where they've gone. You know, I kind of asked some of my friends that just aren't really in Second Life that much anymore. It's like, dude, where do the cool kids play now? And I'm like, don't know. But again, we don't know where the future leads. You know, Philip may say something today that we're all like, oh, awesome, and you know, it goes back up again, or he might just go, right, can I run an open Zoom server? Don't know. I just don't know. I don't think anybody's doing. That's kind of the material I have. I hope that you enjoyed the journey. Maybe sort of dispelled some of the myths. I hope I've answered some of the questions at the beginning. A little bit of time. Do you want us to bug out now?
Just before we get to a few of the questions, now you can wave that there's 8 people watching on the stream apparently, so we've got a big audience.
We got video, yay!
So
thank you, Mr. Techie in the back.
Questions from anybody in the room or anybody who's on the stream can ask them as well.
If IBM designed Second Life, I mean, let's say way back, IBM got it early, would it be different, do you think, or would it be very much the same in terms of the technical aspects of it?
The technical aspects of it would be very different.
Different.
Okay. The model chosen by Linden Labs is lots of small processors. Okay. IBM is all about scalability. Okay. When we write software, I mean, we're, I didn't get to do my little joke at the beginning about, IBM International Business Machines. Well, it's nearly, I don't know, it's 100 years old. IBM's been around for a long time. There weren't computers that long ago. People don't really understand that the actual international business machine we sold that got us started was a meat grinder. I shit you not. But getting to your question, we look at scalable things. We want to be able to sell you any amount of hardware and you fully seamlessly move up that. So our model probably would have been very, very robust server stuff that can run to any level of scaling. So you'd probably be able to get lots of avatars in there. They probably would not look as pretty. Okay, so I can't promise that if it had been done by IBM that it would be as successful as it is now. Okay, but we would not have a lot of the problems we're hitting now is scalability in Second Life. Okay, we might not have gotten that far if IBM had done it. We might have, I don't know. It's hard to say. I was very keen when Sun was going under. It's like, IBM bought Sun. They got a virtual world machine. That could be interesting, but that didn't happen. Oracle bought them instead. It's kind of expected, but just kind of my thought. Questions online, questions physical? Yes?
One of the issues in Second Life is the stability of the grid. If you were going to do it, what do you think that you would do differently?
Well, we'd let you put in big iron. We'd solve it with hardware. IBM is very...
So you think that the reason is because they have small servers?
That does not help. They based it on technology, and again, I'm going to be partisan here, okay? They used unscalable technology, all of this VB stuff, or what is it, .NET, Mono. I do not, there are proponents of it that will say that I'm wrong, Okay, my understanding, not being a great user of it, I have to admit, is that that was an unwise decision. And I believe they made that decision because they had expertise in it, and they went with that. Now suddenly the world came to their doorstop, and it's very hard for them to change. Okay, but I think that that was part of the reason for the instability. Part of the reason is that, you know, they're trying to grow very quickly. You know, you can have something stable, you can have something fully featured. It's hard to do both quickly. Okay, it's like, you know, I'm a programmer and I'm always complaining about, it's like, I was at home, my nephew was visiting, and I was, you know, saying words I shouldn't be saying in front of him, just trying to get Windows to see my Linux server. And, you know, he was like, oh, you know, as I was bitching out Windows, and he's like, you know, oh, are you a Mac person? I was like, no, I hate the Mac too. And I'm like, you know, actually, I hate Linux as well. It's like, I'm a programmer. They could do it better, but they don't. And, you know, I like to say because they're lazy programmers. The truth is, it's a business. You do what you need to do. You know, you can't do everything. You pick what you need to do. Secondly, you know, in their management of things, they have picked certain things to do, okay, at the expense of other things. Now, it's very easy to criticize and say, well, it'd be a lot nicer if things were stable, but if they did stability instead of those other things, we might not actually be where we are now. So that's why I said, if IBM was running the show, it's like, yeah, it would be different, but it might not have been as successful because we're focused on different things. Can I answer?
Yeah.
Personal opinion. Any other questions? Are you itching to go, or anybody else?
No, I've just been looking, there've been a lot of comments about what you've been saying, but so far as I can find, no questions
Copy
that
me the
have been
laws.
covered. You'll
Hopefully
be able to see
positive.
them Twitter later. Yeah, interested.
Oh.
Interested in what you're doing.
Again, you know, contact me afterwards, this, that, and the other. I will let everybody booger downstairs because we all want to hear what Mr. Linden has to say. Thank you for attending.
Do try to come quickly back up to whatever session you're going to after as well, because we'll try to get back on.
Can you tell me what that web access